Did you know there are 3 brand new Division games in the works? The Division franchise has always held a special place in our hearts on the channel, and we know it probably does for a lot of you guys as well, and you may even be one of the OGs that discovered the channel during the time we covered those games. We absolutely loved the Division, but we didn't quite like the way that Division 2 changed things, so we didn't end up playing it or covering it for quite as long. But with the amount of time and the community that we've built around the Division, we're always hoping it makes a comeback, and with the news of 3 new games in development, we hope that these next games can head in the right direction. So let's go through what each of these 3 games are, and you can let us know how you feel about them. Are you excited for more Division, or are you completely out at this point? So the first game that's probably the furthest along in development, as it recently had a beta test, is the Division Resurgence. This is a mobile version of Division, and it's actually super impressive just how close it looks to the original game in both its features and visuals. You can see that Ubisoft is really trying to broaden the franchise as they're making the game free to play as well. This one will feature a whole new storyline and will take you on the role of one of the first wave of Division agents through the events of Division 1 and 2, but from a different perspective. It doesn't initially seem like a cut-down mobile light game as well, as we have seen a lot of features that you would normally expect to be in the full game, such as the dark zone, different multiplayer modes, and a full open world. It is looking like a pretty cool thing, and it does look impressive as we have said, but I don't know if personally a mobile version of Division is something that I was looking for, because I normally like to sit at my console or PC and grind the game out. But let me know what you think about this one, and you can sign up for the beta now on the website if you are interested. But moving on to the next game, this is more of your traditional console and PC style of Division game. But this time it's also going to be free to play, and the gameplay will be more so focused on the extraction part of the game. Think about the dark zone, but it's expanded to the full size of the open world. One of our absolute favorite parts of the Division in its heyday was the release of the survival mode, as that DLC had an epic theme of an extreme blizzard and some really intense player interactions, especially towards the end. The developers have said that Heartlands are building on top of that idea with more open world missions and activities to do. The full description of the game is that in a single play session, you can experience both the challenge and exploration of daytime and the thrill and intensity of nightfall. While exploring during the day and completing critical objectives, scavenging for materials and supplies, you can face off against dangerous enemies. But when day turns to night, the stakes heighten and new enemies start appearing. You must avoid the increasingly volatile contamination, fight your way through rogue NPCs, and take on newly hostile enemy players. It's certainly nice to see them building out on the Dark Zone gameplay. We know it's a bit of a love it or hate it thing for gamers, as some of you really don't like the PvP aspect of it, but there are a lot of players that do love that intense gameplay that comes with a high risk, high reward feeling. It's always been crazy to us that Massive haven't fully capitalized on the full breadth and width of what the Dark Zone gameplay can be, and essentially they fumbled the bag, as Dark Zone and Survival were both very positively received, but then they let other games expand on this formula and turn into something like Escape from Tarkov, which has grown huge in popularity. So as a fan of PvP games and extraction games, if done correctly, I'm kind of hyped for this one, and it'll be super interesting to see if they can pull it off, as the Dark Zone has always been super fun and intriguing, but I always felt just could be executed better. The Division Heartland doesn't currently have a release date, but it will be releasing for consoles and PC. Now, we won't blame you if you've missed out on it, but the next game is Division 3. It was announced, but in a very under the radar kind of way, with a series of tweets and short videos with the developers. This is probably the project out of all of these that we are most excited for, and we really want to see Massive take their learnings from the first 2 titles and improve on them for this next iteration. There isn't much known about the game at the moment, but let's go through everything we do know. The reveal of the Division 3 wasn't a straight up announcement with a reveal trailer and all of that, but more so a reveal that the head developer has been appointed for the Division franchise. So here's the man himself to talk about it.
My name is Gene Garrity. I've been at Ubisoft for around 25 years. I've worked in many different studios, from Shanghai to Lyon to Massive Entertainment in Sweden now. And I've worked on many different games, but mostly within the Tom Clancy brand, from Splinter Cell to Ghost Recon to The Division.
Yeah, and so what is this new position?
So this new position is executive producer on the Division brand and franchise. And basically what it means is that I'll be in charge of the coherence of the brand and the quality of the projects that we release, whether it's a video game, on mobile, on HD, or other projects.
As you said before, you work largely within the Tom Clancy universe, but I still have to ask, why the Division?
You know, simply because The Division is one of my favorite games of all time. It's my comfort food game. It's also incredibly fun to work on. This is an incredible privilege for me to be able to continue working on this with all of the incredibly talented teams around the world.
Now, there was one more piece of news in that press release. What exactly can you tell us about The Division 3?
So I can say that I'm going to oversee the development of The Division 3, which is going to be led by Massive Entertainment, where we're actively building a team.
Well, thank you.
So from this, it seems like the game itself is probably in the ideation phase at the moment, and the team is only just getting started, so it's probably going to be a while away. At this point, because it's so early on, we're hoping that the game will more so go back to Division 1 in terms of its ambition. Division 2 always kind of felt like Division 1.5 rather than a full sequel to us. Things that would make Division 3 a big win for us is definitely to have a very cool setting. Even returning to an expanded New York would be pretty cool in our opinion. Of course, better gear and weapon drops that actually feel unique and fun to play will be important as well, but also abilities that are super impactful and fun to use. I remember builds back in the Division 1 would go pretty crazy if you had enough tech, and we do hope that they expand into the Dark Zone with more players, more risk, better loot, and so on. But it would be super interesting to know what you're thinking of all of these Division games, and what it would take for you to get into the Division 3.